Good morning and welcome in our Powerhouse panel this morning. We've got attorney and Republican strategist Erin Elmore with us, and former Trump campaign aide Rick Gates is joining us this morning as well. Good morning. Glad you guys could be with us. Mark Halperin will be with us in just a little bit this morning, too. A lot going on this weekend. Mitt Romney was out there touting the merits of this infrastructure bill. Take a listen to what the Utah Republican had to say.
That the infrastructure bill stands on its own, and that his other agenda items, those things stand on their own as well.
To you, Erin, on this one, the Biden administration, I think it's okay to ask. Normally, you wouldn't ask this 5 months into an administration, but do you think that the Biden administration, is there a plan for the economy? Like, do they have an actual plan for years from now, what this is all going to do?
Well, I, too, am no tie because of Rick Grinnell, the great Rick Grinnell. But, I mean, honestly, when you see what Biden's America is looking like and when you see what Joe Biden is doing as a president, you always have to ask, what is the end game here? What are the next steps? If this is A, what is B, C, and D? And I don't think any American, Democrat, Republican, or Independent has that answer. What they're doing is throwing money at every person in the United States that we don't have, creating mass inflation, creating higher cost of goods and services, and yet we see no real results from any of this. We don't see any positive impacts for any of these actions. And I do not think that there is a long-term plan. I think their biggest plan is how to get Joe out of office and Kamala into that seat and sort of give her this, you know, she's going to be the great star with the cape that comes in and saves the Democrat Party. But until then, we're all left scratching our heads and wondering, what is the 46th president of the United States doing?
Rick Gates, I wanted to get your opinion on what we saw take place overnight. U.S. airstrikes in Syria and Iraq targeting 3 sites that we know about. These facilities apparently used by militia groups. They are.
Look, don't want to prejudge it. Don't want to, make accusations that can't be supported. There'll be lawsuits. There'll be investigations. But I think it goes without saying, it's true by definition. That building was not well maintained, from the builders to the people who operated it. A bunch of expensive repairs were due to take place.
You're going to see both criminal and civil implications here. And on the civil side, there's actually a law firm, Saltz Mondeluzzi, that handles these building collapses. But there are going to be several plaintiffs because of so many injured and unfortunately, people who have perished. Those families are all, I'm sure, going to obtain legal counsel. And the defendants are everyone from the builders, the architects, to city officials. These are going to be very pervasive, complex, and massive legal situations. And here's the problem, though. None of these families can ever be made whole by a dollar amount. They have lost their mothers, fathers, children, brothers, sisters, loved ones. And you cannot pay your way out of these situations. This isn't a fender bender. You get the insurance money and you get a new car. This is a catastrophic loss of life and a small community in Florida. By the way, Surfside is known to be a lot of Russian Jews. So a big impact to the Jewish community and all of those people down there. But this is truly sad. I see a lot of criminal implications, civil implications, and prayers and thoughts for all the families.
It just makes it even more sad that this happened in the middle of the night. People are sound asleep in their beds when this building gave way. Rick, what's interesting to me as well right now is I'm curious how the Biden administration is gonna respond and react if somebody's gonna go down there. Just for the optics of that, George W. Bush was at Ground Zero just a couple of days after the towers went down.
The governor declared a state of emergency, so it's going to allow federal aid to come in.
Top of the hour, looking forward to it.
Thanks, Rob.
All right. In the Powerhouse panel, we've got attorney and Republican strategist Erin Elmore with us. Says quickly on Surfside, but there was a report that came out this weekend, and there will be more on this. But when this building was being proposed in the late 70s, it was built in 81, completed in 1981. Building rivals claim that the partners behind the towers were receiving preferential treatment when it came to getting permits to put the building up. If that's the case, I mean, we could be looking at court battles for a long, long time if there was some sort of negligence in any of the construction that took place 40 years ago.
These legal battles are going to be long and arduous, and both civil and criminal. If there was bribery, if there was paying off, those are the criminal implications that put people behind bars. The civil is the money for the families from the construction companies, the builders, the developers, the cities. But as I said in an earlier segment, nothing will make these families whole. You will not bring back the loved ones, but people do deserve compensation for their loss, but I think the criminal implications are going to be really interesting to explore.
Yeah.
Because this was so long ago in the early 80s, some of them might have statute of limitations issues because it was so long ago.
Right. That is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. We've seen, I feel like every time I turn on the TV, Ron DeSantis is talking about what's going on, and he's just leading. He's right where he should be. We've got the mayor of Surfside, Florida coming on the show in just a little bit.
Harris, your vice president, only went to the border yesterday for the one simple reason, because I announced that I was going next week, and I am.
Distinguished biker, Mark Halperin, is back with us.
I'm a distinguished biker.
Erin, I know you're a biker. You're a Peloton person, Erin, aren't you?
First of all, just so you know, a Peloton means a group of cyclers. So that's where the bike company got the name from. But I am a Soul Cycle devotee. I am on that bike almost every single day, and I have over 500, nearly 600 rides under my saddle.
I am on Peloton as well. My name, do you want it? Newsmax
Yes.
Nation. You can follow me. You can follow me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine's Twerking Mom. So.
Rick, what do you like, a Nordic track guy? What's the deal?
I like the golf course.
Oh,
the
yeah,
golf
you do.
carts, they run very smoothly.
Rick, when I
do a
met
lot of
you,
running.
you remind me, Rick, my father-in-law does this. You dress like you're sponsored by the pro shop. So when you're not wearing a suit, you just look like it's like you got your gear at the pro shop, and that's your casual dress. Mark, how long have you been doing bikes at the level that you do it? Because you bike all the time.
Mostly in France. I call it a bicyclette.
Yep.
Bicyclette, how do you pronounce it? I'm really more of a Stairmaster guy, and most every day when I get up to do the program, I think, is today the day I'll do the show from the Stairmaster, and how would Newsmax management feel about that? I'm easing my way towards that by going without a tie, so stay tuned.
It's like a gaggle of geese, Erin, right?
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
I didn't know that, though. That's the lawyer in you. A Peloton is a group of bikers, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey,
something new every day.
we had crime around the country is the worst it's been in a long time. You can blame it on the summer heat. You can blame it on coronavirus. But according to Lori Lightfoot, we have our Newsmax reporter sitting in the front row in Chicago, and he's asking Lori Lightfoot about the crime spike. This is William Kelly, right? Newsmax reporter asked her this is a benign, standard question, and she handled it with dignity and grace. Take a listen.
Many residents in Chicago feel that you've lost control of the city. Now it appears as though you've lost control of the Chicago.
Control in our city. In fact, crime is on the decline. All of our major indices showed a decline in crime, and our homicides.
You on this, we hear about that number. We say, well, people they're retiring. There are multiple reasons that go into anybody retiring. But think about what these police forces, 45%, that's a big number. Think about what these police forces are losing. They're losing these people that have all this institutional knowledge, all of this expertise that they then can't pass down to the new recruits, the younger cadets, the younger officers on the police force.
You're absolutely right. And these numbers are truly staggering. And just bringing in new people isn't going to rectify the problem here at all. We need these seasoned officers to be out there on the streets with their good instincts. But what they have done in some of these major cities like Philadelphia, Portland, Atlanta, New York, Chicago, and so on, is they've done a cost-benefit analysis and said, this is no longer beneficial for my family to risk my life every day. If I shoot the wrong person because of their race, I'm going to go to jail for 30 years. And this is really damaging to communities of color particularly. They are the ones most impacted by this. These are the neighborhoods often in urban areas that need policing. And what we are seeing is, as you said, the quietly refunding these police departments, but unfortunately a great deal of damage has already been done, and you can't flip a switch and go back to the way that things were. This is going to require years and years of re-education, retraining, reorganizing to get us back to the level where these inner cities feel safe.
Yeah, especially, some of these larger cities. You think about New York and Chicago. We had a shooting in Times Square. 21-year-old former Marine was shot, hit by a stray bullet. By the way, Times Square. Kind of glued to the TV just to see what the coverage would be like. And it was just kind of bizarre. I was watching CNN, I know, but I was doing some comp shopping watching CNN. And it was just like they were like, well, there it is. She's on her way back to Washington. It was so sudden, so quick, so abrupt.
CNN and the other members of the mainstream media are basically at this point a Democrat super PAC. So all they are is just banging the gong for the Democrat Party and the leftists. They can do no wrong. Republicans are systemically racist, horrible people. They cover for Joe Biden. They gaslight the American people into thinking that Joe Biden is healthy and that Kamala will be a good leader and is a great vice president. They love identity politics. You're African American, yay. Woman, yay. Any sort of label they can put on anyone, they will and they shall. And literally, it's like watching a one-sided conversation where two people just nod in unison like little minions. Yep, 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 yep.
And now across the country, by the way, police forces in major cities are being refunded, not defunded. No one's really talking about that. President Trump held a rally about 40 miles west of Cleveland, Ohio on Saturday. There was about 25,000 people there. We got used to seeing these throughout his campaign and, of course, throughout his presidency. This was the first since he left office a little over 5 months ago. Erin, you are the attorney on the panel. We are getting more information. The Washington Post had a very interesting piece yesterday about a 2018 report where they found structural issues with this building. There were people doing roof work when this building came down. That had just begun, that project, but ultimately they were looking to sort of reshore up this building. It sounds like people were well aware of maybe some issues with the structural integrity of this building before it came down Thursday night.
It sounds like it. And this is truly a tragedy of epic proportions with massive legal implications, both criminally and civilly. The families of the victims will seek compensation from whether it's the builder, the architect, the city, the inspectors. The list goes on and on. But I think the greatest point is you cannot make these people whole. They have lost their mothers, brothers, sisters, loved ones. It is seriously a big, huge tragedy for these families. And this loss and the buildings around it, too. Those people have to wonder, this shallow sand, are our buildings safe? Are our loved ones safe? So really, it's going to have a massive domino effect. And you were speaking about earlier, there's some criminal implications here because there may have been some codes that weren't up to date and people paying for play. And it's just really all around very tragic for the families, for the cities, for the community. And hopefully this will make regulations stronger and make people take a little closer look at those very valuable regulations.
Now, right now, it looks like this is just something structural happened with this building, Mark. No, this wasn't terrorism or something like that. But do you remember the least popular people in broadcasting right now? I think on both sides of the aisle. It's just a very bizarre angle for Chris Wallace to take. And I would say the same thing if he were broadcasting from the studios of CNN or MSNBC. Mark said. And I think Curtis Wheeler is going to
Incredible.
Do it,
Incredible.
All right, let's go through this. We have about 3 minutes left. So I want to know your winners and losers of the weekend, and then we'll do what you're watching for this week. Erin Elmore, to you first, winners and losers of the weekend.
I'm the winner of the weekend because I unpacked all of my stuff from Philadelphia. I'm officially a Florida resident. And that means the losers are the Philadelphians because they're no longer getting my tax dollars, my support to all of their charities, my prolific spending at their restaurants, and the stimulation of their economy.
And your charisma and your spirit
That's
in Rittenhouse Square. Mark Halperin, to you.
Winner, first place, Boston Red Sox swept the Yankees. Loser, Erin stole mine. The people of Philadelphia lacking now Erin's free spending ways.
Seaways, good to see you. We got to get some curtains for that Florida sun.
I know, sorry.
I see that. All right. We'll see you guys again soon. I really enjoyed it today. Great way to start.
Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. All right, now to UFOs. I was serious. After